Billionaire Manoj Bhargava struck fortune on an energy drink. Now he wants to give most of it away. This week on Managing Asia, I talked to the businessman about his meteoric rise and his mission to improve lives in India.
Where? No, just one.
Manoj Bhargava, billionaire, innovator, philanthropist.
You can do something really useful like this, or you can do stuff which is just convenience for the rich. Well, what is the purpose of that? So yeah, I can go 3 hours from Los Angeles to New York instead of 5 hours. Really? That's what you got? To me, that's worthless.
Unapologetic, outspoken, Bhargava seldom gives interviews. He spends a lot of his time at his invention shop called Stage 2 in Farmington Hills, Michigan, USA, creating tech tools for people in need, starting in rural India.
So we came up with the 3 fundamentals which define a person's well-being. And they were electricity, water, and health.
I started with what I wanted was a hand pump that would create electricity. It didn't work. Then we had a bicycle, which worked, but it wasn't that efficient. It was expensive, it was heavy, it was maintenance. We created this with the highest material there is. So we have, this is a solar panel, right? And then you just put it out somewhere. So it has to be light, because otherwise you can't carry it. So we made this so that, you know, anybody can carry it on their bicycle or whatever it is.
His engineers have also built a filtration system that turned brackish water into drinkable water, and a simple DIY recipe to help farmers transform waste into a rich fertilizer.
Well, I think, what else would I do? In other words, to me, if you get up in the morning, you're going to do something that's useful and that's fun. To just buy toys doesn't seem either useful or fun to me. So I said, okay, who needs things? Let's do it for them.
Bhargava found his fortune on this, the 5-hour energy drink that has brought success, controversy, and lots of wealth. All his life, he's not afraid to take the road less traveled. The man who gave up Princeton to become a monk in India for 12 years. Well, it all began in 2003 when you decided to launch your 5-hour energy drink, and within 10 years, retail sales grew an estimated $1 billion. How did you stumble upon the idea?
And so we found this at a trade show. It was a great drink. They weren't very good, smart people in terms of business. They were a bunch of science guys. So I went to them and they basically said, get lost. You know, you're not smart as we are. So I said, okay. So I don't have that much respect for most of the science guys anyway. So I thought, if they can do it, I can probably do it in 30 days. So, which is the sort of the arrogance of the young, right? Maybe.
Did you do it in 30 days?
Yes.
You came up with a 5-hour energy drink in 30 days.
Right. So I looked at it and I said, what are the fundamentals here? And see, can I make, and I made it better than what they had in 30 days. And then I went out. And the only unfortunate part was it tasted like bad cough syrup. Right?
You needed to improve the taste.
Right. That was the harder part, is to get the flavor. And today, that's what we've done. It took us years to get that right. It was phenomenally successful. For 2 years, we were growing at 6% a week compounded. And we did lots of interesting new ways of doing things, which, because we weren't trained in anything, none of us had an MBA, which I think would have hurt. Yeah. But, so we just did common sense, and we're able to pull it off.
What exactly is in the drink? Is it purely caffeine? Do you have a secret ingredient? Can you tell me?
Sure. It's actually listed on the bottle. That's the amazing part. It's one of the qualities of caffeine that nobody knows is that it makes other things what's called bioavailable. So sometimes if for example, there's a headache product called Excedrin, it has caffeine in it. But why would a headache product have caffeine in it, right? Actually, what happens is you put anything with caffeine, absorbs better. So we put these brain nutrients, which focus nutrients, into 5-hour. So it was kind of a trick. We tricked you. It was actually a focus drink. But the thing is, when you have focus, you think you have energy. And there was really
better.
not energy. There was, obviously there was no sugar, there was no calories. So where did the energy come from? It was all up here.
Well, given your success, there's still been a lot of controversy surrounding the safety of your products.
Sure.
It's been linked to deaths, and you face numerous lawsuits regarding deceptive marketing.
Right.
How do you deal with these negative issues? Has it impacted your sales?
Somewhat in the beginning, but not anymore. I think there's a lot of hype. In other words, if you have caffeine in an energy drink, it's bad. If you have caffeine in coffee, it's okay. If you have caffeine in green tea, it's good for you. It's still caffeine, right? So it was spun to make it look like there was something negative about it, when there was nothing. If you talk to the science guys, they'll tell you there was nothing. In fact, the report the guys went to the FDA, and the FDA said there was nothing. But there was a media hype.
So you've been cleared?
Oh yeah, I mean the FDA never even talked to us because they said, well, what are you talking about? In order to be harmful, you have to take 40 of them. It's the same as if you take 40 cups of coffee, you're going to suffer. That's all. There was nothing there. But in the media, as you know, once something takes a life its own, and it does it. And then, of course, the lawyers jump in. And so you say, and in deceptive marketing was also really funny. So it's hilarious because when you have nothing else, then you go after somebody for deceptive marketing. Because it's like, have you seen those shampoo commercials where the hair flows like, is that deceptive? Do you always have pretty people? Does that mean your product is going to make people prettier? No. I mean, this is just, so the ones who came after us, they all lost because it was just silly. Every ad is not really, every ad can be talked as if it's deceptive because, first of all, everybody's not going to be that pretty. And if you use our shampoo, you will not get prettier, right? Your hair won't flow like that. So there's all kinds of, so people, and that's fine. I mean, that's the game that the lawyers play. And unfortunately, everybody lost. We did not lose one case because it was all nonsense.
Well, today you're one of the richest Indian businessmen in the US with a net worth estimated at about $4 billion US. But in 2015, you decided to give 99% of your wealth away to help the less fortunate. What made you decide to give almost all away? Was it a higher calling on your part?
No, not at all. Actually, we lived the same, whether it was 2015 or 2010. The way I live hasn't changed. The problem was I don't want to change, so I really don't need the money. So when you don't need the money, then you say, okay, what can I do with it that has use? This is my view. But rich people get into this thing, the purpose of money is to make more money, and to make more money. How's that useful? That makes no sense, right? So I looked at it and said, okay, what is the purpose of wealth? Not, of course you make a living and you have to survive and all that, but beyond that, what is the purpose of wealth? The purpose is wealth to help those who have less. There is no other purpose. Buying toys, I mean, is okay when you're 10, but I don't have that interest. Not that nobody else should have that interest. I mean, you certainly can act like a 10-year-old, that's great. But to us, it was like, okay, what choice do we have? We do something not very smart, or we do this. That's not a choice. There was no calling, there was no nothing. It's just get up in the morning and do something good.
Well, in the last few years, you come up with a couple of products that were very interesting to help the poor. A bicycle that generates electricity, a portable filtration system that helps to provide clean water. Is the ultimate aim to give everything away for free? Is there a financial model to what you're trying to do?
I'm not actually rich enough to give everything away for free. If I did that, I think I'd be broke in 2 months. So that doesn't work. And I've also found out that nobody's really going to help. So I have to do it, which is really great fun. It's challenging. And so what I've come up with is a simple model of not a non-profit and not a for-profit, but a zero profit.
What's a zero profit?
So the model is really simple. If you cannot lose money, you sell it at a point where it's zero profit, right?
It covers your cost.
It covers your cost, then you can do unlimited amounts. Now, you don't make any money, but that's okay. We don't really care. But the zero profit.
You don't really care about making money at all?
Well, I don't even think it that way. I mean, I have to make money in order to do all this, right? So I get up in the morning, I do that part of it, which is to make money. And we got lots of other things going that we'll make money from the rich people. You know, and we won't sell it cheap either. We will sell for whatever we can on the rich people. But on the other side, once you do that, the great fun is doing things which are really useful for the unlucky third of the world, right? That's where the fun is. This stuff is, you know.
So who are you selling it to? Is it mostly local governments in India?
It'll be governments. It'll be people that are not at the absolute bottom. But the problem is, let's say I have an electricity device, right? If I give it to somebody who doesn't have food, first thing he'll do is he'll sell it. Well, that wasn't useful, right? So we have to start somewhere where we came up with a device that you'll have electricity for free once you buy the device for the next 12 years, and we warranty it for 12 years. And you'll get no electric bill. And you'll have lights, cell phone, fan, which for people who have air conditioning don't realize how important a fan is when you're in a really hot climate. And you can do TV, do schools. You're in the media, so you know everybody's trying to get internet to everybody. Well, wait a minute. How are you going to get internet if they don't have electricity? Mm-hmm. Right? They forgot they're putting designer windows up. They got no foundation. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing is foundational work. We found out giving, you know, in our work when we were in India and giving to people in the village, that their earnings went up by 20, 30, 40%.
So everyone has access to this product in the village?
Right, everybody can. The school one was the most interesting. So we gave it to a school, and the school only had 2 blackboards, no books, no walls, just a roof and tin roof and, you know, pillars. We came back 3 months later, they were on the internet. They went from no books to the internet. Now, everybody there had an opportunity to do anything. Once you're on the internet, then it's a matter of are you lazy or not.
All because you help to provide electricity.
It's the basis of everything. Right.
How many of your products are being deployed in India right now?
We just started in November with this new device. Right now, there are only about 10,000. We're gearing up for bigger and bigger production runs. One state has ordered 100,000 units. They have, in that state, they have 100,000 families living in the government forests where there is no poles allowed, so you can never have electricity. So they said, well, it's the only way we can get that electricity.
Where are you making your products? I understand it's mostly done in Farmington Hills in the US. Does it make financial sense? Are you hoping to eventually make them in India?
Well, right now we're making them there because we keep making changes. And I have some of the best people. I mean, we're in Detroit, so we have automotive guys who really know production and so on. So once it's to a point where, okay, we're ready to really roll out, then we'll make it somewhere else. It may be India, it may be partly Singapore, it may be, I think one piece we're going to make in Singapore, and there are other parts, depending on, it might be Vietnam. I think this area, besides India, this area, whether it's Cambodia or Vietnam.
Would you make it at a loss?
Well, the funny part is I am making it at a loss, right? Okay. But the ideal is...
Are you hoping for payback?
Well, hoping to get to zero. That's our target, is to get to zero. So if you keep that as a target, I don't lose huge amounts of money. You know, in this whole stage 2 inventing stuff, I've probably put in, I don't know, $60, $70 million. Was that a loss? I don't think so. You know, and I look, the stuff we're doing in the water, for example, we've created something really amazing, and that's going to be launched in May. Device is only this big, this high. It can do 40,000 liters a day of any kind of water, right, including brackish water. If you do brackish water, you've just saved the world's problem for water, and at least pushed it off by 5 to 7 years, which is enormous. And it's a device this big. So that's
You make it sound so simple, but actually, what sort of capital investment are we talking about on your part? Will you have to invest more of your own money into this venture?
Well, you know, my metric, people really love metrics. My metric is it useful for people that our customers meaning the bottom, you know, the unlucky third of the world. If it's useful for them, I'm going to do it. In some way, it might be fighting City Hall. It might be going against everyone that has agendas and the government and everybody else. But we're going to do it anyway. Now, the target is zero profit. And some really funny things happened on the way to making this stuff. We found out, making the water device, that the market in the United States is at least 10, 15 billion. Because we found out the same device takes the lead out, takes hard water out, takes chromium out, which there's so much lead water in the United States. You know, I found out recently that in Chicago, which is one of the largest cities in the United States, they were installing lead pipe all the way to 1986. What do you think is going on? So we will, those people we will charge. And that will take that money and put it over here where to people who really can't afford it.
Don't go away. More with Manoj Bhargava, billionaire philanthropist, in just a moment.
I hired engineers, you know, graduates of fancy schools, and then they would sit at the computer and type. After a while, I said, "What are you typing? Why aren't you making stuff?" So I actually got rid of the whole crew.
Managing Asia. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Christine Tan, and thanks for watching Managing Asia on CNBC Live. You can check out more of our great content by clicking on the videos on screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the very best in feature programming. Thanks for watching.